If you have extras, you can just pass them back or something.
Righty. Got 1 minute. So this is no pressure after sitting in so many classes. Like, okay, doing my class. Should I wait till right at 11:15 or when the door closes?
I'll close the door anytime now.
It's an open session. Come and go as you please. So I will get started. So I'm Michelle Butler. I am the youth program supervisor or manager now at the Center for Holistic Development in Omaha, Nebraska. It's a behavioral health organization. And what I do is I supervise facilitators in several different programs, intervention and prevention programming. So in lieu of coming here, I wanted to just share, again, like I said here, the impact of having these type of programs. So the program that I'm going to speak about, which is my baby, I've been doing it since 2017. I was a facilitator. No, I started off as an intern. I got hired as a facilitator 2020 amongst COVID and everything. I was blessed to get a job as a supervisor straight out of school. I got my bachelor's social work degree. I was blessed to become a supervisor during COVID, like I said, and I've been there ever since. So with this being said, I just want to share a little bit about the Urban Youth Vote program. I am wearing the shirt. I decided to wear this to show kind of, this is how we kind of empower our youth through visualization. So for me, I have a lot of information, but I also have a lot of pictures, and I'm going to share some experiences that we had, positive impacts. If you read my bio, one of the most positive experiences that I had was being a parent who, with the prevention programming, my 26-year-old son benefited from positive programming, the positive adults. He started working at the Hope Center for Kids. Anybody from Omaha know the Hope Center for Kids? Partnership for Kids. Those are the positive programs that supported me and my family. So it helped my son divert away from any trouble. He never got into trouble. At home, of course, yeah. He didn't take the trash out. He didn't do what he was supposed to do as a son all the time, but he never got into any legal trouble. Like right now, he's married at the age of 26, no children. He's doing everything the right way, and I'm blessed to have that. So, with that being said, I put that in my bio because that was really important in the foundation to be doing this type of programming. And I didn't get the clicker. Do you know there's a clicker? There isn't. I hated when I was at the presentations when I could not see the PowerPoint, so I was trying to move out the way and come back to it. So one of the biggest things for our programming is this is the motto. We do a lot of African proverbs, so this is at the top of the list. We really do believe it takes a village to raise a child. So when we're doing our diversion program, we are a part of the village. So our programming, when the parents walk in the door from the first contact with the referral, we get our referrals to the Juvenile Assessment Center. So let me go back a little bit. That's our main referral source, and then we get our youth through the schools, the community. Parents will be like, hey, I got another child that's acting up, can they come? So it's an open group as long as they're experiencing some of the negative behaviors and things that we know that the group can help impact. So we do take this wholeheartedly. We do believe as a society we are all responsible for the moral characters it creates, and everyone in the community should be responsible for helping to train a child, irrespective of who the parents are, offering correction where they are needed. So that's what we do. That's in our programming. The funny thing is Tuesday we have a class. All the kids told us, we're having some really challenging things with our youth now. They basically told us, as we were preparing them for graduation, which is next week, I didn't care about anything you were saying. It was going in one ear and out the other. we hear this all the time. Our parents say the same thing. Do you realize that? And I was like, yeah, we realize that. That's why your parents sent you here. So they're wondering, why are we still talking to them about the same thing their parents tell them every day? Society is why we're doing this, because this is a societal norm. From 0 to 18, 19 years old, or whatever the age of adult is, these are the expectations. We expect for you to go to school. We expect for you not to break the law. We expect these things. So we are reinforcing those parents, what those parents are saying, that are telling those kids to get on the right path. So they really, we are giving them that correction, but, they basically told us they don't care. And that's the battle that we're all fighting. One of the things that I had to embody for myself is knowing that we can't heal the world today, but we can begin with a voice of compassion, a heart of love, and an act of kindness. So when we're working with our youth, being that positive, supportive, caring adult is very important. I almost quit. 2017, I went to something at the courthouse. Judge Daniels, I'll never forget, he's the one that kept me in this, because I was like, man, these kids don't care. They're not, in 10 weeks, they're not learning anything, and what do we do? So he was like, you would never change 15, 16, or however many years worth of issues in 10 weeks. So I learned at that point that I want to continue on what I'm doing, and still here to this 2017 till today. What I ended up doing, I'm a paper person. That's one of my strengths, input. So I gave you resources. I didn't want to go into great detail about the program because I have other things, but as you see there, the program is a cultural specific program for ages 10 through 17. It is for African American or Black youth only because of the disproportionate contact that they do have with the justice system. So our program is specifically for those youth, and we do a boys and a girls group. So, and we use the principles of Kwanzaa, but I think I have one more. Oh, so yeah, wherever you vote, VOTE stands for Building Our Leaders Today. So although the youth come into contact with the justice system, we don't treat them like criminals from day one. Our relationship with the Juvenile Assessment Center, I don't think anybody in here, is anybody in here with the Juvenile Assessment Center? No, well that's probably good. I don't have anything bad to say, but with the Juvenile Assessment Center, our relationship with them is they don't tell us the charge. So when a youth comes to our program, we don't know what they did. Shoplifting, assault, whatever their charge is, we don't know. Honestly, we don't care. We're dealing with youth. As we've been learning throughout this conference, there are barriers that they have. It can be neurologically. Their brains are not developed, so they're going to take those risks. It's going to get them in trouble. So our motto is to educate, encourage, and empower our youth, and that's the basis of our program. And I'll go into some steps on how we are doing that. We use those principles. We use the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. So we see those as everyday community building blocks that can be used for any purpose. So we use those principles. I gave you the definitions for the sake of time again and me not having to explain everything. But we use those 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and then we use the 8th principle of respect. I put it at the top because respect is one of the most lost things amongst our youth. Respect for their parents. It's in the home, it's in the community, it's with the police. But honestly, when they get into the room with us, we show them respect, and with them, you gotta earn respect to get it. You gotta give respect to get it. That's what they function on, so that's how we operate as well. We go in the door with them. It's not an authoritative approach, so that's the first barrier that we're having with our youth. When you're the authority, they buck all the systems when it comes to their authority. So we make sure that we don't use that approach. So the way we do that is we use the positive, supportive, caring adults, and we help to build relationships with youth by connecting them with different components of our program. It started off with just a facilitator. In 2021, everything happened after COVID. It seemed just like everybody was isolated. Kids were out of school, then they came out of COVID, and it was like, what happened? Like, kids matured to a certain level, behaviors got out of control, school fights, everything in the schools blew up, community stuff blew up, and that was recognized. So my boss, Doris Moore, ended up adding different components. So we have free services available to our youth while they're in the program. behavioral health, so we have outpatient therapists, certified therapists, licensed therapists that will work with the youth. It's a free service while they're in the group, and we do therapeutic groups with the services, and we do individual services, which is very stigmatized in the African American community to see a therapist, so we get them to understand the importance of the therapy while they're in the group, and then we get them to buy in during that time. Education mentoring, so we partner with Stay in School Stop the Violence Project. He provides education services, so he goes directly to the youth. That's one of the biggest places, one of the places they spend the most of their time at, outside of home, right? Schools. So he goes into the schools, he's a presence in the schools to help them to find that connection and between our group and the schools and the importance of that, because that's one of our top priorities, is to increase that and improve the education barriers that they have. And then family engagement, we have a family navigator to support families and connect them with resources in the community. We have them do a parent group and other positive supports. And then we have a parent, certified nurturing parents program through our organization that we also offer, because a lot of times it's working with the parents as well. Our youth are products of how they're being raised a lot of the times. Oftentimes, that's not the issue, because they are really coming off of what their peers are doing. So if you have a police officer for a parent and you're out here committing a crime, that's not what you're learning at home, right? So we know there are some issues. We always tell the kids, just similar to a pastor, you raise your kids in church all their life, and then what happens when they get of age? What happens? A lot of them turn away from the church, right? So you can have all the principles, you can have all the foundations that you want in place, and they will still buck that system. I'm going to use that word because that's what they're doing. They're going to buck they're going to do what their peers are doing. That's more important to them. And I'm open to engagement. I'm open to a little smiles too. But yeah, so any questions you have, feel free to stop me as I'm moving along. So for a program like BOLD, again, we deal with ages 10 through 17. I have not read across a 10-year-old since I've been there, but definitely had several 11-year-olds. I have an 11-year-old right now. I can't imagine her getting into any legal trouble. I can't imagine her not getting up and going to school and hitting me. I had a parent call me and was like, Michelle, I don't know what to do. Her daughter graduated like 6 months ago from our program. She said, I took her phone and she hit me in the face. I'm like, whoa. Like, I can't imagine those things, but that is what's happening in our community. And they're at younger ages. So one of the reasons for us doing the group I wanted to point out is one of the problems is statistically minority students face disproportionate contact with the justice system. They have higher rates of expulsion and dropouts from high school, and are more likely to go to prison than they are to go to college. And then, again, the disproportionate minority contact. The ultimate goal for programs like the Building Our Leaders Today program, or BOLD, is that young people will become productive adults, law-abiding citizens, connected to meaningful work and healthy relationships, and live in a healthy environment. So that's helping us to build the community. Right now in Omaha, anybody from Omaha, we know that there's been a lot of shootings and things. Our community is not healthy right now. But also, just last month, Obama granted us $800 million because of the state of our community. So it's just kind of like, I don't know if the community heard that and they decided, hey, we're going to go shoot it up, because we're not getting that $800 million, but we have a lot of crime right now. An important thing for programs like this is to really focus on the buy-in and taking in versus taking ownership of the program. So it's very important, as it says here, is buy-in is when someone else or some group of people has done the development, the thinking and deciding, and now they must convince you to come along and buy into their idea. So my initial phone call from the Juvenile Assessment Center, I get the referral, I call the parents, I get their buy-in. Ownership is when you own or share the creation and refinement of an idea or decision, and it is a choice that you made freely. How does buy-in and ownership tie into connecting with our students? Does anybody have an idea when we're doing programming? That's the question. How does buy-in and ownership tie into connecting with our students?
I'd say that buy-in is how you get them in the door, and ownership is how they leave. right? So buy-in is, you have a service to provide. If I'm a youth, you want me to engage with you. But ownership is now this belongs to me and I'm taking it with me for the rest of my life.
Yes, absolutely. Any other ideas behind that? Yeah, and I like that. I'll add that to it. What they take away at the end is definitely important. But at orientation, well, I'll go back. The Juvenile Assessment Center, they'll refer them to our program. It's not mandatory. It's voluntary from the beginning. They don't really see it that way. When you get arrested and you go meet with somebody and they tell you you need to do a program, you don't really see that you got an option, right? You're just like, well, if I don't do this program, what happens? So when they come in the door, the very first slide I have in my orientation is that, you have to buy into this. You have to want to do this because it's not going to work. The parents and the youth have to buy into our services. If they don't, it's not going to work. So we make sure that they know that coming in. Most of the time the youth are like, I didn't say I wanted to come here. They told me I had to come here. And I'm like, this is not mandatory. So if you decide after our orientation that you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. But they see the benefits from day one, hearing about our program from the Juvenile Assessment Center, from my initial phone call. And then at orientation, we do a really good job of letting them know. But overall, they have to take ownership with parents getting your kids there. 10 weeks of programming. Once a week, you have to get your kids there. And then the kids, you have to come here and you have to participate, you have to engage, and you have to really, although they tell us they don't care, they don't do anything, I tell them you learn something from every experience. You're going to take something away from every class. Like Tuesday, the girl was like, I didn't learn anything. It was going in one ear and out the other. But when you said this, and I was like, oh. So you did learn something. And she persisted to tell me, but yeah, y'all talking about respect. And I said, oh, well, I thought you wasn't paying attention. And I pointed out right then and there her leadership. We did a practice of the graduation speech. Nobody wanted to do it. They refused. They had to take ownership. She didn't want to do it. She was the first person that came up. And I was like, see, she did it at the end. She knew everything. She took everything she could from the program. So building relationships is something that's really important as well. To build relationships, it helps the youth feel supported and safe, develop self-confidence and self-esteem, and see new possibilities in life. Educators or programming have to take the time to build the relationship, slowly develop and maintain trust, be positive, listen, show respect, have fun on the journey, and be committed to the process. Like me, now I have to step away from the classroom. That was the saddest thing I had to do, but I am managing the program now, so I got to be the person to come in there and be the authority. When I need to, they need to pull me in when we have behavior issues. But I can turn my positivity on and off. I can be really positive, and they don't know what happened right before then. So we always go into the room and make sure that we're there for them and we're building that relationship with them. And that is the biggest barrier to overcome with youth. I don't know if anybody attended the youth session yesterday, but I did attend a youth session with the Youth Empowerment Network. I forgot what they were actually called, but the Empowerment Network in Omaha. And that's one of the things they said. They don't trust adults. They don't trust their teachers. They don't have those relationships that's giving them the confidence to move forward positively, but their peers are who they put more of their trust into. So we have to really build our relationships with the youth along the way. So these are the essential attributes to making connections with minority students. Being enthusiastic and present adults are an important piece of successful connection with minority students. A strong and trusted relationship that brings these students together with caring adults who offer guidance, support, and inspiration. Relationships thrive where there is intent to share wisdom. So we are similar to U-Turn. U-Turn has credible messengers. We have similar life experiences. So they never ever believed that Miss Michelle was in a gang. They never believed that I was in trouble. I never got arrested. So I'm one of those believers that you got caught, but there are so many people who are not getting caught. I was one of those people. I don't have a record because I was able to get away. My mom didn't know anything. We snuck over her cousin's house or something, so I didn't get in any major trouble. But letting them know that I was in trouble, that breaks down their walls automatically. It's not like Me, I come in there, I don't dress like this, but I'll have this on, but not my jacket. We try to meet them where they're at. So when we go in there, we'll just be of a relation to them. So they're like, oh, well, one of them told me, how are y'all going to teach us anything? How are you going to come in here and tell us anything? Your kids probably never got in trouble. You probably don't understand. I shared with this young man, I was blessed that my son never did get in trouble. I'm thankful for that, but I have an 11-year-old daughter growing up in this climate, so I don't know what's going to happen in my future. But letting them know that I didn't even have to go through it. I don't have to have had a troubled youth to care, and that's what we are as the youth serving organizations. We care about the youth, we care about their outcomes regardless of our history, but I'm blessed to be able to have myself and a staff that can share wisdom, experience, and things with our youth. That's really important for our program and for the community that we serve. Engage work through race and gender lens. So I'll be showing examples of that, but again, the benefit of our program is everybody that they see looks like them. That's breaking down one barrier. When you go into a space, they're not trusting of situations like I'm a social worker. They think everybody is going to take them from their home. And it's not always a social worker that looks like me that does that. So that's a barrier when they think of the people who they're working with. So we are able to really engage them through the race and gender lens. Be aware and acknowledge racial injustice and inequality. So we let them know why we're doing it. We let them know that the rates of incarceration are higher, the rates of being kicked out of school are higher for youth of color. And then making them to see, like, now they have to do their part, because it's not to say you're not getting in trouble and you didn't deserve the charge. We just see the disparity in the system. Be willing to address the injustice of race. Oh, the next one. I think that's it. Same thing. And use metrics to evaluate success. We definitely have Boys Town evaluations that we use. So we do research-based evaluations and methods that we use to really assess how our program is working for our youth. And that's mostly what I attended in this conference, ways to really improve that in my position. Benefits of programming is to help minorities. So we definitely want to help the students overcome many of the obstacles to educational, social, and career success by providing support. So we're doing that, like the Family Navigator will ask the question. She does a pre and post assessment with the parents. We'll try to assess the needs that the parents are looking for their youth. We also ask the youth some of the things that they need. So in the summer, if you tell me you're not doing anything, I'm going to try to connect you with the Summer Works program. I'm going to try to connect you with workforce development. We're going to try to do something. We're going to encourage them the whole time to go to school, how important it is. Socially, we're going to encourage them to be leaders and go the opposite way and not follow that. Be the leader and go left, not right, or however you want to say it. And then we always try to find, like if you say you're interested in coding, we connected them with coding camps. Just finding things that's really going to help build them. We want to help minority students create and develop a healthy identity, because when you turn on the TV and you're hearing negativity, you're not always feeling that you're worth anything. So we help them to see their worth, helping them to see that the challenges that they're experiencing, when they say, I had a young man tell me, I love science, but they stopped teaching me science. And I was like, he does not, first of all, he don't understand how far science would take him. But no, they didn't stop teaching you science. I'm like, is your behaviors like you are in my classroom? Because your behaviors are a product of why you're not learning, not that they're not teaching you. Because when you go to school every day, they're there to do their job right. They don't just go into the class and be like, this science class, but I'm not teaching science today. Our kids are not learning. So I explained that to him, and he was like, yeah, and I encouraged him to go back to school and sign up for more science classes, get into some more STEM and STEAM programs. So, just building your identity, just let you know how beneficial that can be for your life. Is an example of that. We want to help build up their belief in themselves and those around them to believe that they can make it. So we work with the parents, through the parent group and all that, to help them to believe. You don't know how many parents say, I get calls all the time. They just want the kids removed from the home. But we have to be patient. We have to work with our kids. We got to put them in different programs. The Juvenile Assessment Center does a great job of sending them to us instead of to a program about their charge, because they're looking at the leadership qualities and skills that they have, and that's one of the things that they'll send them to our program for. And then we like to expose our youth to inspire and adult role models and give them hope for their own futures. So we'll invite individuals to come in and speak. I love the young people who are able to come in and talk to them about some things that they've accomplished in their lives, just to see that there is a future. Terrell McKinney, he came and spoke to our class, and if anybody don't know him, he's a state senator now in Omaha. Well, I guess for Nebraska, right? I guess I don't know my politics. So. Is he everybody's state senator, or is this on? I don't know. Just I'll tell you. But he came in and he talked to them, and he was like, I used to run from the police. I used to jump fences. He lived in the projects. He did a lot. And he's actually my cousin, so I know that some of the things he had. And we were very amazed for him to run for senator and get the job. So him coming to speak to somebody, he's a little guy too, so he don't have a presence that people would think like, hey, he was big bad out here in the community. Oh my gosh. My technical help. This didn't happen to anybody else's class. The computer did not go off. Does that mean talking too much or? All right, I'm sorry now. Okay, so anyway, those are the examples. We'll bring people like, if I can get a state senator in there. I have some slides that shows it, but the behavioral health unit of the police department came in. We had Mac, I don't think Mac is in here, from Boys Town, came in. So we have people come in and speak to our youth to empower them and inspire them. So here's some several different quotes. Children and adolescents who have formal or informal mentor-like relationship with someone outside of their home are less likely to have externalizing behavior problems, such as bullying, and internalizing problems such as depression, because we're going to help them. I know Hope Center for Kids, they definitely help with that. They have a biblical background, Christian background, so they're able to help them in different areas. Girls Inc., they have many different people that are coming in contact with them, but a barrier with parents and guardians, especially when you're the old parent or guardian, they don't think you understand anything, they reject you, they isolate, they don't share things with you as much as you would like. So just having somebody else that they can talk to is very important. Research finds that the presence of one or more caring, committed adults in a child's life increases the likelihood that children and youth flourish and become productive adults themselves. These individuals have been called natural mentors. So anybody do that work? Do you see yourselves as natural mentors? I don't know I know we got a variety of different professionals, but yeah. So when you're working with youth, that is some of the benefits of being that person that they can look back on. I mean, many of us have stories like my favorite teacher. You remember that teacher? I was not great in school, so I don't remember any of my teachers. But when you get that positive impact, then you're going to remember that, right? It's just like, it's a positive adult that impacted you some kind of way that you can share that story. And we have the hopes of our youth being able to turn things around and share their stories. So now I'm going to get into some of my examples. And does anybody have any questions? I'm not moving too fast.
Where do you meet? Where do you meet?
Pre-COVID at our organization, we had a smaller office. Post-COVID, we started meeting at outside places that had bigger spaces. So Omaha Home for Boys Campus, or the Empowerment Center, is where we meet, the Village Empowerment Center. So we meet there weekly. We have to rent the space, but we just moved into a huge facility now. I have a space for just my program now. I get to decorate the walls and have fun with it. So when they walk in, they'll have a visual, we'll have inspiring quotes and things on the wall. But we meet at our organization moving forward in July. So I'm thankful for that. So,
And how long are your sessions?
2 hours, yeah. It's been an hour and a half because I am the male and female facilitator. It's hard to keep people in these positions, you know, to find those adults that want to have the passion to do this work. So for the last year and a half, 2 years maybe, I've been facilitating both programs. I just hired 2 individuals that I think are going to be strong for our program. So the next session will be 2 hours. And I think I'm going to do twice a week. We are dealing with severe challenges with our youth, and 10 weeks, an hour and a half has not been working for them. So the next groups are not going to probably like me. So yeah, you're going to see us a little bit more often. Help to build on the skills and things we're trying to teach them. We want them to be able to come back. 10 weeks, like we have 8 principals, we only have 10 weeks. First week is orientation, last week is graduation. So we only have 8 weeks to do 8 principals. So that means we're going extremely fast in that time to get this across to them. Then next week, we're doing the next principal. So it's not that we're building on anything.
So this is not court order
No.
program, and is it doing school, after school, kind of collaborate with school?
Yeah, it's not court order, so the youth are non-adjudicated. So that means, you know, if they come through our system, our program rather, then they will not get that charge. The charge will be removed. What was the second question? Oh, after school hours. Yeah, so we do usually 6 to 8. It's kind of late. Summer, I'm thinking about moving it up a little bit, but we also got to think about office hours too, having the kids in the building. But yeah, so it's generally in the evening for our programming, and try to pick a day of the week that's not too busy for everybody. Any other questions before we move on? Because now I want to get into my examples, because that's the biggest part of what this presentation was about, to really get some real life examples of how we're utilizing our programming and the impacts that we're having with our youth.
Is there a way to shut the lights down in front so you see?
Where's my technical person? No. Where is she? No. Oh, nice. That is, thank you, Steve. So I tried to do the colors. First of all, I'm a colorful person. I tried to do the colors and big words because I'm like, I don't care. If you take a picture, I was still let everybody like take a picture. I'm okay with that too, except for when I have the photos and things up, because we have permission to use it, but I don't want to share it or anything. And did you have a question? Or somebody back here?
I just wanted to ask, do you speak Kiswahili? Do you speak Kiswahili?
No. We do serve different cultures, you know, so, but I mean, listening to Elizabeth now today really just shows some of the barriers that we have when we're trying to serve refugees and immigrants. But I am open to hiring somebody, so I'll give you my card afterwards. I would love to build on that so we can be more effective for other populations.
So at the beginning, you also work with parents
Mhm.
and have supports for that. Do they come during the same time? Do they typically, are they involved when their kids are there? Or how does that work?
Yes, thank you for that question. We really try to align our parent program with the class. So the youth will be, currently the girls are like 5:30 to 7. So the girls' parents can come for a class at that time. And then the boys' group is from 7 to 8:30. So then the parents can come during that time. So yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible. One of the biggest barriers we have for that is we don't have childcare. And we have parents that are like, I have 8 other kids at home. I'm like, oh, we can't have 8 kids in a classroom. So we have a lot of challenges when they have to go to the store. This is a very huge inconvenience for our parents to have to bring their kids there, so they don't always see the benefit of it. But we try to at least do that. Like, instead of having to go to a whole different thing, do it at the same time, maybe plan it a little bit better. So yeah.
Is there any follow-up or wraparound services after the 10 weeks?
Yes. So with the family, thankfully we have the family navigator who can do that. So we do the pre-post evaluation. So a week after the class, we do a post. Maybe up to a week or more after class, we'll do a post evaluation, and then probably about 3 months, we do what we call a post evaluation, and we're like, hey, how is your child doing? Also, our education mentor he is our biggest follow-up. He continues his services. His wraparound is there, and then the therapist, because those continue. We try to limit the sessions for everyone like to 12, so they can go a little beyond the program. But I'll tell you now, the education mentor, first he has his own organization, so he can see them as long as he wants to, and he does. And I got a great example of his work, because we just had a great experience at it out with him. But yeah, so I ran into a mom. She was doing a presentation, and she was like, "Miss Michelle, I've been needing you." So me being in the community, being a real person in the community, I'll see people, ask how the kids were doing, or they'll just keep my phone number and call me. So yeah, but I like that we can, and I would love to build on that a little bit more, more of a follow-up. And I'm hiring for a family navigator. Anybody interested? Send people my way. So for NIA, for purpose and creativity, Kuapa, we do an egg drop activity. So anybody ever done an egg drop activity? Yeah, so fun, right? Well, we were doing an egg drop activity until eggs went up. I was like, oh, I cannot buy a $3 credit. I'm sorry. But, so, get the supplies, have them wrap it up. Identify the egg as your purpose. Wrap it up with all kind of good stuff. And then, I'll go to my slide. So, they will go. So this was at our old office. This was a ladder and went all the way up like at least 2 stories and dropped the egg after they wrap it. This is an example of how a young man, we tissue boxes, I'm just like crafty, anything goes in that box. Toilet paper, or what is this, paper towel rolls, he wrapped his egg up in there. They'll drop it from a certain height. So this is us showing us working. We work with interns, so UNO create interns. I have them in the room helping support, so this is another intern and staff. This is my daughter. That's fine. She's learning without being in trouble right now. But they put in a lot of work. It's very engaging, it's very hands-on. They'll go out and drop it, and it didn't break. The ground is way down here. It didn't break. So we let them know how hard it is to work within your purpose. You gotta work hard. There's a lot of things. There's gonna be a lot of challenges. I put this on here because sometimes your egg is gonna break. This young man broke so many eggs. And I'm like, you broke the egg on the table, how did you do that? So that was just my example of letting them know it takes a lot of work to work within your purpose. There's gonna be issues, there's gonna be barriers, there's gonna be times you have to start over, but you gotta really work hard at it. One of my funny experiences is a boy told me, I'm a cold rapper. And he had his egg, he put it in a cup. I said, is that all you put into your rapping? And he was like, yeah, I'm cold, And I was like, do you know how many good rappers there are out here? Everybody doesn't hit it big. So I said, by you put it in a cup, that just shows you're not really working on your craft. So then he wrapped it up and did everything, but it was just an example to let him know. It's just, just to get them to visualize it differently. So that's an example of the egg drop activity. They have fun. They like to get up and move around. I'll play their music to a certain extent. I'm like, oh no, turn that off. So we'll play their music and we'll just have them talk to each other, have a little bit of fun. This group of boys, they did it. I think most of their eggs didn't break, and they were so excited just to see the tough guy mentality change to like the kid like fun. Is really exhilarating for people like us. And then they took those eggs and threw them and hit a building across the street. They just want to have fun at the end. Another activity that we do is vision boards. So boys and girls will get in there. They'll look at the boys. You would never think the boys would want to do this. They're like a vision board, but we'll identify one of our principals. We'll do this probably towards the end. So we'll identify one of the principals. My intern, she did Unity, so that's an example. First, they're like, I want to do, we'll tell them to do their own. Well, no, we want to work together. I don't want to do my own. Then they realize you can't put everybody's vision on your board, on the same board. So then they get more excited. The boys decided they wanted to work together. So we just think of one key principle and have them all put something on there. I think we did purpose. So then they put I want to be a football player. And then they explain, at the graduation, we'll hold it up and they'll explain why they want to do that. The girls, I remember they didn't want to do their own. Then by the end, everybody got their own vision board. Because they just collectively sometimes not want to work together. See the young lady here on the floor, they really get into it. So just trying to do some of those hands-on activities just to show them ways of really just bringing those things out of themselves and knowing that they can keep doing it.
What are some examples of what's on the vision board?
So we always think of like, for me, I'm going through about 6-7 weeks, something that's trending. So if I feel like there's a lot of, if we need to do unity, then we're all going to focus on that. That's the topic. I try to keep it consistent, but one of the things we do is we try to let them be individuals. So what principle stood out the most to you? Share why. So if they say purpose, so they identify their purpose, they'll find pictures to put on there to explain their purpose. Respect, like here we're going to do respect. So I was supposed to do it with Gwen. We worked together recently, and I was like, I couldn't think of what to have them put on that vision board, so we were supposed to kind of work together. So it's kind of a challenge to really think specifically what to have them do. But for her, she did her name, and then she just explained a little bit about herself. And I have another slide that I could probably have it more concrete. So this is some examples of the vision boards. It's creativity, faith, purpose. So then, they put different things on there that is so faith, it means honoring those who come before you. So always having somebody to look up to. So I think that's Gabrielle Union. Just identifying somebody that encourages you. I'll tell them it could be a brand, it could be anything that helps you to get to where you're trying to go. So they put a lot into it.
So I have been to a graduation last night.
Yeah. Yep, Steve been to a graduation. So.
In the program, what community partnership do you have to help with the barriers in the home? So that they don't circumvent while we here.
We try to get them connected throughout the program with the hopes that they're going to continue on, but the only in-house ones are our behavioral health and education mentoring. So in-house, they can continue on beyond the program. But outside of that, we'll try to connect them with the youth serving organizations, partnering with different community organizations. But we don't really have like just a segue for everybody to go into. And that's something I would really like to build on. We also wanted to kind of start doing like workshops to have them come back within 3 months, different segments of time to come back and then check in with them. Because we hear different stories about the outcomes of our youth. Recidivism, they get another crime while they're in a group. They come, I stole a car last week, I got in trouble. So they're actively committing crimes and stuff while they're in programs like this. We had a youth that got murdered right over the hill from our organization, and it's just like, so we living in the community, we hear about things that we wish we could do more. One of the biggest things, I work with workforce development. I'll call them. We got a referral process. I want to get them in a job. Goodwill Industries. Like the challenges that our kids are having in school. I wish I could be in that presentation. If anybody was in the first one, I wish I could be in that one, just to see why they're not engaging with the school, but letting them understand the alternatives that are there to full days of school, career building. Goodwill Industries has a great program I had no idea about, Metro Community College. It has great programs that can help our kids to be more engaged. Yeah, so we try to connect them with all those industries. But yeah, so that's an example of the vision board.
Do you ever have some of the ones that have graduated come back? And
Yes, we're talking about that. That most of them, since 2020, nobody wants to come back. They're just set in their ways. But yes, I do have an example of that. A couple of examples coming up here. So this is an example of the individuals that we invite into the room to talk about it. This is our education mentor for Saying School Stop the Violence. He's talking to the guys. This man is amazing. He has so many layers to him. He came and did this presentation. He created a fraternity at UNO. He is the CEO of his own organization. He's an He's an ex-gang member that did all of these things. And he has a whole thing with, he almost got drafted to the NFL when he was younger. Then he got in some trouble. had to go before the judge, and he comes up and he shares that experience with our youth. So he just really tells them how he went from being a gang member to how he became a CEO and how he's giving back to the youth. That's my boss, Dora, so she always gets up at graduation. That's one of our graduation classes. And just pour into them, share words of encouragement for their future. That's our therapist up here, family navigator, and this is another one of our therapists, working with the youth, just coming into the space, pouring into them, giving them the positive words of encouragement, or in the classroom, working with them directly. And then I have some other examples of that as well. So then we like to do the collective work and responsibility and Ujima and Ujamaa. So what we do, we'll do local history. When I started, we just talked about Black history. I talk about local history. I talk about the community that they're in. We talk about the prosperity that was once in a community like North 24th Street, where there's dilapidated buildings, burned out buildings, no resources, food deserts, things like that, and seeing what the community was and how they can build on the community instead of destroying the community. We talk about the unity that they can have when it comes to gangs. Like if y'all get together and go clean up the litter in the neighborhood, we can improve our community. So we try to encourage them through those things. And then we can do field trips to local Black history. So in 2021 through 2022, we partnered with Preston Love and a Legacy Tour. So he took us on a tour of the North Omaha community. We took them to Black-owned restaurants. So yeah, we took them there to eat for free. So they just go eat and they'll learn more about the community. The Malcolm X Center, so we went there before, and the Black History Museum. So we take them to learn more about their history and their culture. Unfortunately, that's not what they're learning a lot in school. We probably have Black History Month and a little bit sprinkled in there, but we do encourage them through positivity, because when you want to hear about your oppressive history and negative things, you don't have anything to aspire to. So we try to teach them more positivity about their history. So this is just some pictures of us. Like we're on a fancy tour bus here. A lot of them don't get to go on those things. So yeah, so that's an example of what we do that really build on that. And then, just the tour of the Black History Museum, they turn it over. This is a presentation on HBCUs. So that's good to let them get the experience of knowing that college is viable and, historically Black colleges are an option for them. So that's some of our experiences with them. Look, none of this is all these two, they don't want to take a picture. They don't even understand. They really are reluctant to do things, but we just try to give them the exposure while they're in the program. So, any questions? I don't know how we're doing on time. What we have to 12:15? Oh, I'm doing great. Mama's Attic, Lavonne's Dentist. We toured her center. She's at the Center Mall. If you're interested, I would check her out. So she has some historical stuff there in her organization. And then this is just showing some group teamwork. I have a little game that they play. They got to work together to break into a safe. I'm like, I shouldn't probably have them playing a game. But it's called Heist. It's the funnest game ever. And to get them to sit down and break into this and get the code that just pops out at them, they love it. So we do that, and then that's just an activity of them working together. I don't even know what they were doing on that one, but just seeing them working together. The girls, man, there's so many barriers with the girls. They don't want to talk to each other. They don't want to engage with each other. So we do activities that have them to make them work together. Yes.
How do you select your activities? Like, are you going off of structured curriculum? Are you choosing these activities on your own, or?
I like it to be the facilitator-led type of thing, and then learning from the kids. Like, we want to make sure we're doing things that we know is going to be engaging for them. Because some of these things is off the table for certain groups. It's like they're not going to sit down and play this game. We had this was the girls group. I think the boys group, we had 10 boys. I didn't put the boys' picture up here. I don't know what they were doing. They're running around, they're not gonna sit down and just watch some other people play, so. Yeah, but I like the creativity of the facilitators. I want them to think of things to engage them. For me, I might be old school. I've been doing it since 2017, so I have something laid out, but they can come in and create their own things. The basis of our program is you have to talk about the principles and find ways to engage them through that. So that's the main basis of everything. Any other questions? So, so when we talked about faith and self-determination, this is combined. We talk about the people who come in and talk to them, the people who come in who completed the program and then come back to encourage them. And then we use all the principles and we do that. We celebrate the successful completion of the program. So we use all of the principles. Really it's about the faith that they have in those that came before them and what they learned. And then their self-determination, sharing what they got out of our program. At graduation, we have a speech template that we utilize, and then they get up in front of everybody, right, Steve? They'll get up and share what they got out of the program. And it's really a good outcome. So I wish I would have brought the speech template, but just saying, what did you, what was one of your biggest surprises of the program? One girl was like, I didn't have no surprises. Tuesday, I was like, you didn't have no surprises? She was like, yeah. One of the things with her, she fights about everything. I said, did you fight anybody in the program? She was like, no, you're right, I didn't fight anybody. Did you cuss anybody out in the program? The challenges that we know that they have, we try to help them to understand that. She was like, but I'm gonna keep doing that. I was like, well, you didn't do it in 10 weeks. So that's a big surprise. That's something that you got out of the program. What did you miss most when you were in the program? Every Tuesday evening at this time, what is something that you miss doing? You can go to games. If it's your birthday, you can celebrate your birthday during the time of our program. Unfortunately, which it breaks me down, like if you have prom or something, I'm sorry, you have to come to the program. And I have to go back to the criminal thing. Like if you got arrested, you miss all those things. You don't get to celebrate your birthday. You can't go to prom. You can't go to practice and things like that. So we have to really bring some things into context with them. So we have them identify the things that they got out of the program and how it helped them. There's nothing wrong. One boy was like, I know my mom and dad wants the best interest. A little bitty 13-year-old guy, but I don't care. I'm still gonna do what I want to do. I was like, okay. I don't tell them to change anything because when your parents are in the room and you say that, I don't know how they're gonna react to it, but that's his experience with our program. So here's the examples of, again, with the program. This is a young man. He graduated the program. He attended another 10 weeks of our program. So we call them the peer mentors. So he comes in, and it goes both ways. Sometimes they're still working with their peers, so they might pick up on the negative stuff that's going on in the class, but they can also share their experience and help facilitate the class in some way. And then he got up and did a speech. He did an awesome speech at the graduation. That's Terrell McKinney up front. This is the behavioral health unit. And I invited all the parents and guardians back because we do want them to understand call and tell them you have a crisis instead of calling 911 is very important because the police are coming to respond to a crime. They're not trying to de-escalate anything, so that was one of the examples of that. And then these are some of the team that came and just spoke at the graduation. They're so animated, they're so passionate that they will bring you to tears if you were in the room hearing how they talk about the program. And this is one of the juvenile assessment specialists who I work closely with. So she came in and encouraged them through some positive words at graduation. But, and this lady here, she owns, her program is called UGLY, it's an acronym. You gotta believe in yourself or something like that. But she came in and she talked about how she overcame some of her challenges and barriers in life. So that's a little bit about what we do at graduation. And throughout the program. And then this is what we do at graduation. This is some of the youth getting up together. That's my facilitator. And the youth, that's one of our program partners. They get up and stand with the youth as they're sharing their vision boards for activities. This is the speech. This young man right here, the first day at orientation, he said he didn't want to do he didn't want to do something, and he was like, I'd rather go to jail than do this 10-week program. And I was like, we really talked, we poured into him. We didn't give up on him. We could have been like, okay, we'll go to jail. We talked to him. He was one of the most involved people in the program by the end of the 10 weeks. At the beginning, we never thought he would get up here and do this speech. This particular graduation, there was a lot of tears in the room because of what they put on their graduation speech. We make them get up there and support each other. And then that's an example of the girls, and again, my boss up there encouraging them. So, and that's me throughout the years. Just we give them a certificate. We put them in a frame. We ask them to really see that this is a successful program, something that they positively did and completed, because they don't always see the follow through in things. So they follow through with the 10 weeks despite the reason why they got here. And then this young lady, I'm going to share more about her really quick, but she has her own, what do they call it? She does her own cupcakes. And I utilize her. I started supporting her business, and we buy her cupcakes for our program. And I'll share a little bit more about her. But any questions? Do we get at 12:15, right? Oh my gosh, the hour went fast. So now I have my youth stories about how we work together. So that same young lady, Tiny, she walked into the Center for Holistic Development. I was seeing her out in the community. She was a janitor in Macmillan. She walked in there for some services. I'm way down the hallway talking to somebody, but something told me to go to the door, and she was there. And it was a cry for help. And I was like, so what are you doing now? And she was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Things was not going right for her. I offered her a job on the spot. She passed the background check and the drug test, which is beneficial. But she worked with me for almost a year. So she graduated the program successfully in 2018. And then she started working between 2022 and 2023. She moved on since then. She's somewhere else because we couldn't get her to full-time hours. But she was able to come full circle and give back to the youth. So that's one of the success stories, working with the youth that's in our program. In that time frame, you usually lose contact with people. But, that's a successful outcome to our program. And then this young man, so when I was talking about my education mentor, this young man, he graduated our program in 2021. He graduated high school in 2023. Honestly, we didn't expect him to even live through 2021 because of all the issues that he was having. His father got shot, his brother almost, people were coming after his whole family. There were so many challenges. He's a state wrestler, and he just got through. And I went to his graduation party, that's what these pictures are. And his grandmother, his aunt, his mom, everybody was thanking us for being a part of the village that helped him. They did prayer lines every week for the family because the challenges that he had. But he a couple weeks ago, graduated high school and is off to go to community college and do some more with his life. So those are some good successes from the program. JD, the education mentor, that's him. He worked with him from 2021. And it was actually, he didn't really come in under our program. He was a partnership through U-Turn. So he came through that partnership, and then he stuck with him all the way for 2 years and hosted a graduation party and everything. So that's a good outcome because, again, we didn't expect this young man to live. He was really deeply involved with a lot of community stuff that was impacted throughout the program. So then this is some of the people that we work with, just some of the partners. So just really engaging our youth, having a lot of people in a room, a lot of support for them. And my overall thing also has to be that we can't change people, but we can plant seeds that may one day bloom in them. After 10 weeks, there's really no significant changes at home, in school, or anything that we really see. But we have to trust that we're planting seeds, and we hope that one day they're going to pull some of these things out. Our kids recognize them from week 1 to Tuesday, week 9. We were planting seeds, and when they were telling me I didn't care, I wasn't listening to anything, but gave me so many examples of what they learned. It was like, okay, I'm seeing my seeds bloom in the classroom. just mess up for what they say. But Mary Davis has some great quotes, but that's very important for us to really realize when we're doing this work, that although we may not see the results that we're wanting in our program, and we still have to push forward and work with our youth and our families, and then hope that one day that they're gonna get it. Because our youth, there's some challenging things going on. Yes.
You have incentives for youth too, right? At graduation, you give them a little gift,
Oh, yeah.
and then you give them the shirts.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. So everybody gets this shirt. So they get the shirt, building our leaders today. Incentives, I was a contractor, it was coming out of contract pay. I'm not a contractor anymore. I'm gonna try to find a budget, so we always looking for sponsors and donors and things like that to support us. We feed them, we try to give them a meal, if we're gonna have them, parents and families. We had one graduation, I think we had 14 youth. We had 75 people that came in the room, and probably 8 of them was my staff. So that was their support systems coming. We encourage that, like anybody, your friends, if you have younger siblings, invite them to the graduation. Our last graduation, like I said, the youth, the girl, the most challenging girl I had, who rolled her eyes at me every week, who dismissed everything, she gave a very heartfelt speech, and then she cried while she was doing the speech, and we all just cheered up. Parents and guardians, grandmas, anybody go in the room, they're crying just to see that their kid is, we ask them to thank them for going through the process with them and apologize for whatever they feel they need to apologize for. We don't tell them what to apologize for, but they say for putting them through this process, putting them through the challenges that they're going through, and that is very heartfelt and encouraging. So, yeah, I made it. Thank you for your time.